Welcome to Relation EQ. We are all about emotional intelligence and bringing harmony to your relationships. And today we have a very special guest. My good friend Lydia Erdman has come in the studio, and we're going to be talking about how to get organized and how to create a very beautiful atmosphere in your home. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome.
Welcome to Relation EQ. Join Julie and her guests as they share their stories to provide powerful insight for fine-tuning relationships that matter to you. Now here's your host, Julie Sims.
Welcome to Relation EQ. Today we have a very special guest. My name's Julie Sims, and my guest is Lydia Erdman, and she is a professional organizer, and her company is called Joyfully Organized You. Welcome, Lydia.
Thank you for welcoming me. I'm so excited to be here and to talk with you today. I love organizing, so I think it's a very worthy topic.
Well, I have personal experience with her as my personal organizer. About a year ago, Brian and I moved into a new home, and Lydia gave me a call, and she said, Julie, I know you're moving into that new house, and I'd like to help you organize your kitchen or your pantry, any area that you're needing help with, if you'll let me put some pictures on my website. And I thought, that's a heck of a deal, absolutely. And so she came over and worked on those areas, and I have to admit, my pantry is the envy of every woman in America. It is a full-length wall, and Lydia came in with baskets and containers that are see-through and labeled everything. I have a taco night. I have breakfast cereals. It is completely organized, and when friends come over, I always have to show them my pantry and say, Lydia Erdman did this for me, and so I know that she's very gifted in this area. So Lydia, as you got into this, what was some of your motivation? Often people will probably ask, I bet you were a messy and this is something that you overcame, but I don't think that that's the case with you.
That is not the case with me. No, I was always organized. My sister was not, and I was, and we shared a bedroom for years. So there was definitely some discussions as to how the space was going to get handled. And so it did affect our relationship, the fact that I was tidy and she was not. But we worked through it. And even to this day, we have great relationships. And she loves to bring me into her home and have me help with areas because she's still not an incredibly tidy person, but she understands the value of it. So I was just kind of born this way, born with a bent towards tidiness and wanting everything to be put away. I would make a mess as a kid only to pick it up because I liked that clean space when it was over. So yeah, it was just it's been a process.
So that's like a hormone rush to you, is to
right?
be able to
Yes,
clean.
Absolutely.
So that makes me ask the question, can you overcome your messiness? Can people learn to be organized?
Right? Yes. No, I absolutely believe that people can learn to be organized. Not everybody's born with a brain that works the same as mine, and that's perfectly fine. I work with clients every day that have a different way of thinking, and we work together to create systems that make sense to them. Because I could come in and clean your house and put everything where I think it should go, and it would not make any sense to you. So we work really closely together, talking about where do you use the item, how does it serve you, where does it need to live, and we give it a home.
Do you feel like you see like the light bulb come on with people for the first time where they're like, okay, that makes sense?
Right? Yes. And I know that working with a professional organizer is an investment. So I think sometimes they're a little bit nervous when I come in. Is this going to be worth it? Am I going to get something out of this? And every single time they go, oh my word, that's amazing. I could never have done this by myself. I needed someone to come in and show me how. But then there's other clients that I'll come back and they're like, you showed me this one area, and so I went and tackled this other area, and it's amazing, and I just love it, and the techniques that you used and how you talked me through it, it just translated into this next space. So sometimes I do teach them how to go do it themselves. Other times I come in and we set up all the systems and teach them how to maintain it. It just depends on how your brain is built and how you want your space to function. So
that makes total sense. I think about it because for years, one of my life goals actually is I have written this goal down. every year is that I want to live in a clean, simple, uncluttered, beautiful space with my family because I know it's valuable. I want the atmosphere in my home to be pleasant. I want it to be a place where people thrive. We're not frustrated and angry at each other because we can't find this, and you're always late because you can't ever get dressed because you don't, your clothes are in a pile.
Right.
Those are the kind of things that really does daily set people up for frustration that doesn't have to. If you
Absolutely.
can conquer that. And so I knew for me it was something that I wrestled with. Having 6 kids, it was quite a chore to handle all that was coming into my house. Like in elementary, you have 6 class photos, 6 report cards, artwork from kindergarten. It was overwhelming, and it really frustrated me. It also made me feel defeated. It made me feel like a failure at times of I can't get myself together.
Right.
And that was affecting my whole family because that's how I felt about myself.
Right.
And so as I made that goal and I began to work on that area, and I'm still working on it. It's not a one and done.
Nope.
But it's learning that lifestyle. I know that I have calmed down, and that has been bringing peace into my home, and I really value that. That's something important. So,
Right.
You're bringing peace into people's homes,
Right.
and really diffusing some situations that can be frustrating.
Absolutely.
I mean, like between a husband and wife, one's messy and
Yes.
one's not. Talk about that.
Yes. No. Yeah. There's been definite times where people have given me feedback of, you saved our marriage, like over toothpaste. Like so before I ever did this, I would babysit when I was a kid, and I went into a parent's house and just tidied. This was just my nature. And I rolled their toothpaste and put a rubber band around it so it wouldn't come unrolled again. And they were like, that saved the daily argument of who was going to squeeze the toothpaste a certain way. So just a tiny little change made a huge difference. And I see this in clients now too, where we come in and we set up a system for papers, for pantries, for your laundry, and they just are able to function with their family in a way that allows them to not have those arguments anymore. Everybody knows the system, everybody can follow the system, and it creates harmony and a togetherness, a closeness that the kids and the parents and whoever is in the home can carry on to other areas of their lives and other relationships. So it's amazing. I will tell you about the paper one that I set up with my kids.
Please do, because I, for years, said, just give me one match. I just need
Yes.
one match to
Oh,
clear
no.
this paper pile out because it is so daunting.
Right?
So tell me.
So many mamas or parents even, because the dads will see the pile of the papers but not necessarily know what to do with them. The mamas are kind of expected to handle the papers, and the kids are like, but they're my precious papers. And we get all of these emotions and all of these feelings going on that you've got to teach the kids how to manage. Maybe you were taught as a kid, but now you're teaching your kids, or maybe you were not taught as a child and you're very sentimental. And so you have a hard time dealing with all of these scribbles and doodles and all the things. So when my kids would bring papers home, there was a spot on the counter that they would leave all of their papers on a daily, and we would stand there and I would sort out all the busy work. If it's like a math paper or a little writing thing where they're writing down spelling words or something, those ones would generally just go away. If they had artwork or where they were actually writing a story, I would talk to them about it and be like, tell me about the story, tell me about the artwork. Okay, is this something that we want to prioritize and keep in the space that we've designated for these papers? And they would say, oh no, that's not a big deal. Oh, nope, I don't care. Or they'd be like, yes, I love it. I want to keep it. So we would talk through that process, and then they would get to prioritize on their board. Do you want to keep this one, or do you like the one that we have up there already better? And they would, oh, nope, you know what? I actually really like the one on the board still. Let's let this one that came into the home today go. And we would use that phrase. We would use let it go as opposed to throw it away, because it just creates emotions in them. They would get upset when you said throw it away. No, it's not trash. It's my precious artwork. I can't throw it away. And so I would say, okay, we're just going to let it go. They also understood that letting it go of a piece of paper was putting it in the trash or the recycle bin or wherever it was going to leave our home forever. But it just made it easier for them. So even with clients today, I will give them a maybe pile. sometimes if there's an item that they don't use, but they just aren't emotionally ready to let it go. They kind of want to figure out how and if it still serves them. I'll say, okay, we can create a small area that's a maybe pile and we'll address it next time. You don't have to get rid of it right here in this moment because you might not be able to emotionally let it go.
That I do want to hit on that because different people and personalities do have different levels of emotional connection to their possessions.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn that the hard way.
Okay, yeah.
Several times by letting go of something that I thought was nothing, a trinket,
Yes.
years in the past.
Yep.
And then to a certain child, I learned a hard way that was something, a special memory to them, and I had violated their privacy.
Right.
I had violated their trust, and it caused hard feelings, and I had to apologize, and I had to realize that I needed to respect how they were bent.
Yes.
And so there are, and I think it can go either way. That, and though I must admit I've heard more often lately is that husbands tend to be maybe a little more sentimental than wives. And I don't know if that's because we are faced with all the clutter and we are trying to let it go, get it out of our house, and we're more decisive.
Sure.
There's things that we're more ready to get rid of. But I don't know. There seems to be personality types that
Absolutely.
you need to respect their possessions, and it's not your place to get rid of it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so that is a word to the wise on that one. Learn the people in your home, understand who are the savers, who are sentimental, and respect
Right.
that when they're ready to let it go, that's when they'll let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get to do that. I know that I have Marie Kondo's book here, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and she talks in a chapter about that she had done that same thing. And I thought, okay, she is well known and she has violated that.
Right.
And it's such a hard lesson.
It is a hard lesson. It can be heartbreaking and something that you definitely have to work through. And I've worked with clients that have already learned the lesson, and they make sure that we set aside items that need to be asked about for other members of the family, members of the household that need to weigh in on whether or not we can get rid of them if they're not there during the session. Sometimes they are, and we'll go ask questions and get them taken care of. But other times it's okay. This is homework. This is something you're going to go talk to them about, and next time I come, we'll put the items away, or we'll take them to donate, depending on what the decision that was made. But yeah, I completely agree about not violating someone else's space when it comes to their things. Like I have 3 kids, and they all have been taught how to maintain their space, and I have been taught how to let go of maintaining it for them. They are teenagers now, so they are able to clean their own rooms and do their own things, and I'm not going to go in there and touch too many things or change it, or I can talk to them about it and be like, hey, tell me, I see that you're having an issue with this area. Tell me what's going on here and how you want it to go. And a lot of times, especially since they're teenagers, they don't want my help right now, but I'm building the relationship. So hopefully when they do have their own home, not just a room, not just a bathroom, they have their own home, they might come back and say, hey mom, I actually really do need your help. Come fix up the space. I need systems put here because it's starting to affect my relationship with my partner or whoever is in their space, roommate, whatever it ends up being. So keeping that relationship open and honest and respectful is important.
I agree that, you're highlighting the training of children, of, preparing them. And I know that when my kids got to be a certain age, I remember my sister-in-law particularly was like, Julie, let them do their laundry.
Yep.
They are mature enough. They can turn that machine on, push that button as well as you. And so she really pushed me to do that. And I was grateful that she she recognized that they were old enough. And so from that point on, in fact,
Right.
we had a 2-story house, and I had a neighbor come over, and she said, Julie, I really think that you could put a washing machine upstairs.
Oh, nice.
And so we converted a bathroom shower into a stacked washing machine. Lydia, my life was changed.
I love it.
I got so much more time back into my schedule because I wasn't doing
Yep.
6 people's laundry.
Yep.
So that was just a godsend to me. But, one of the things I would tell my kids is you're going to live with college roommates. You're going to leave, and it's going to matter whether you're messy or neat. Your spouse isn't going to want to live like this. This damages relationships. And
Right.
so I was preparing them, and I will say that all of them who have gone off, that we're on our last part of college, they have all said, thank you.
Right.
Thank you that you taught me how to manage my space, to keep it organized. And I've had even a couple of kids that changed college roommates because the other one was so messy, they couldn't stand it.
Right.
And I thought, I did my job.
Yes.
That they recognized the value of that.
Absolutely.
So was there any particular age or, what did you start with your kids? Is laundry the way to start, or is it just vacuuming, cleaning the bathroom?
When it came to maintaining their spaces when they were young, we did the paper thing, obviously. We had systems set up in our playroom so they knew where to put their toys away. I still put their laundry away just because the drawers were easier to maintain if I did it. So they would help a little bit with that, but not significantly. When it came to the toys, though, if we were doing a cull, pulling out some stuff that it's too full, we need to get rid of some things, I would lay out, especially stuffed animals, because stuffed animals to me are one of those things that if you leave them in a bin together, they multiply. They just magically show up, and they're everywhere, and they're like papers to kids, if not more so, super sentimental. And so I would lay out every single stuffed animal that we owned and the tub that the stuffed animals lived in and say, okay, everybody pick 5. And I would look at the level in the tub and go, okay, everybody pick 3, and look again and be like, pick 2. And finally, okay, pick 1. And whatever was left, we donated. And that was them prioritizing their stuff. Like they picked their favorite ones. They knew what we were doing. They knew what was happening to what was left over. And it taught them that. So now, even in their closets, in their things, they don't really have as many stuffed animals anymore, but they're able to go in and go, okay, it's too full in here. I need to do something, and they'll be able to maintain it. When it comes to laundry, my kids do their own laundry now because it was a sticking point in our relationship, because everybody would bring their laundry. I would wash it all. I would sort my girls, my son, and then my husband and I. And the girls were so close together, I didn't know whose clothes were whose. So I would take their basket and just plop it by their rooms and say, hey, y'all need to sort, fold, put away. And they wouldn't do it, or they would argue about doing it, or they would have this, relational about stuff. And I'm like, nope, we're done. If you do your own laundry, then you are responsible for putting up your own laundry or not. Sometimes it lives clean in the basket until it's time to do laundry again, and they dump it on their beds and take all the dirty stuff and go take care of it. But it took the burden off of me for making sure they got it done, and it took the burden off of them of figuring it all out and having to do what mom wants me to do in the moment, right now, right here, when it's not affecting her really and truly, because their laundry was in their room, it was in their space, and they were responsible for maintaining their space.
Now, you said that your kids are more teenage years now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so really, and that's really, they're asserting their independence, and you want them to be independent. My mom always told me, I raised you kids to be independent.
Yes.
You are to leave my home
Absolutely.
someday, and I'm preparing
Yes.
you. That is the goal.
That is the
and
goal.
it's a beautiful goal. It's a beautiful
Right.
goal. But, those are the hard years where you're pulling your hair out, and that can cause a lot of arguing in a home.
Yes.
I remember a certain family, and I don't know all that was going on with that family, but there was so much tension and drama between the daughter and the parents. They took everything out of her room as
Oh,
a
my.
punishment.
Okay.
And then they took the door off.
Oh, no.
We don't ever want to get to that level
No.
of distrust, disharmony, just angst with
Yes.
your children.
Right.
And like I said, I don't fully know what was going on, but that's severe. You don't want
No.
to get to that level
No.
of being irritated. And so, learning as you go. And Lydia, so many times, as moms, that we will do things for our children that they are fully capable of
Yep.
because it's just easier. And I
Yes.
can get it done quicker. But that's not the right answer, is it?
It's not.
It
No.
is not.
It's very important for them to be able to feel like they have some space that is their own. That ownership is something that grows something in them that I can't do any other way. They have to be able to take responsibility for it and do it their way. Right or wrong, make the mistake, do it differently. I don't care. Like, just find your way in it while I'm still here to have, some input and some, okay, what do you think about that? How do you think that went? So that's really important for my husband and I as we raise teenagers that are fixing to go out into the world, and they need to be able to operate and function and not be relying on other people to do it for them for the rest of their lives. Like, if you have been around a roommate dynamic where there's a neat one and a not neat one, and the not neat one was never made to clean their space or asked to clean their space or taught how to clean their space, and so the tidy roommate ends up doing it, it can definitely create a situation where you end up in a different dorm room because you're like, no, I will not deal with this. I'm out. So, yeah.
Well, I can remember also one of the things that I hear, and I hear it in your voice as well, is that, you're coming across nice.
Oh,
Not everyone, and I've known you long enough to know that overall you're nice.
right.
Well, not every parent is.
Sure.
A lot of parents yell and scream and get irate over things, and it does them a disservice. And
Yes.
I had to learn how to speak nicely to my children. Mm-hmm. And my husband is my prime example. I give him much applause of what he's taught me over the years, because I would go upstairs and I would, all right, these bedrooms need to be cleaned, and if you'll start in that corner and work your way out, and and I don't know what I did that was not effective, but it wasn't effective. Mm-hmm. Possibly the tone in my voice, or maybe I wasn't specific, but I was more of a, these rooms need to be cleaned, and where I would come downstairs and I would say, I need help. You need to go tell those kids how to clean their room.
Right.
And so Brian would go upstairs, and in a matter of minutes, I would hear the vacuum cleaner running, and I would think,
Right.
what did he do? And so I would go up there, and this would be his approach. He would say, hey, girls, I understand we need a little help with this room. And hey, Tori, if you'll go get the vacuum cleaner, and this one, if you'll go get, if you'll start scrubbing the toilet with the toilet brush, and then you can do this and that. And it just happened.
Right.
And I realized that his soft, gentle approach was so effective because he spoke to them maturely. Like,
Right.
He was kind about it. But then he also gave them the specifics.
Yes.
Child, get the vacuum cleaner. Child, get the toilet brush.
Right.
Then, child, get this. And it was like there for me, a light bulb went on, and I thought, that's how you do it.
Right.
You come in respectfully, you tell them the specifics, and then, because with children, they need the checklist. Okay,
Yes.
I did this, check. Okay, now do this, where I was giving more the overall,
Right.
and it was overwhelming them.
Right.
And I'd find them playing with their stuffed animals.
Right.
And that's when,
Yes.
and
No,
that's
this
when
is
I would lose
absolutely-
it.
Absolutely. So I do this with clients too, especially anybody who's got a creative bent. It's really hard to get them to focus, and they're overwhelmed usually. So, and that's normal because it's gotten to a point where they do not feel that they're capable of what I call eating the elephant. It's too many bites. They don't even know where to start. So I come in and they talk about it. And a lot of times they start to get overwhelmed while I'm standing there having them tell me about their space. And it's okay, we're here. It's okay. You have support, which is what your husband was doing. He was walking upstairs saying, hey, I'm here to support you. I'm also here to tell you exactly what to do. So this is how we're going to walk through this. So they tell me about the space, and then I'm like, okay, here we're going to go. We're going to get all the trash out. Anything that's trash, we're going to go ahead and remove. If in that process you see something that does not serve you anymore and it needs to go to the donate pile, awesome. We're going to move it there right now so that it's out of the way, so we can start seeing the layers that are underneath of the things that you haven't seen in a while or that you do love. And we're going to uncover all of that and set it up in a way that you can see and enjoy and cherish the things that you love, that you want your space to be. We surround ourselves with things that we've either collected or that we love or appreciate, and to be able to see them as opposed to seeing the clutter or the dirt or all the things that have to get put away. That's important in how you create the atmosphere in your home. So that's where we go with it, and that's eating
good.
the elephant. So
Okay, so we're not going to eat elephants.
No.
All right, I'm going to shift this conversation a little bit. All right, let's talk about husbands and wives.
okay.
And I think you mentioned that you and Steve, your husband Steve,
Yes.
that you guys had to work through a certain issue that
Right.
had become a rub in your marriage.
Absolutely.
So tell us about that.
Okay, so he told me he was tidy when we were dating, and he lived with his parents still when we were dating because he was in college, and he said, I'm tidy, and I'm like, okay. I hadn't.
And you trusted him, right?
Right, yeah, totally trusted him. Thought, sure, he was in the military, so I knew he had the ability to be tidy. They teach that to you when you're in. But when we got married, he would leave things places, and that wasn't its home. And I tended to hurt him. Like I would start pushing his things into a pile, hoping that he would see it and put it away without me having to say anything. So I would just push it in the pile, and the pile would grow and grow and grow to a point where I was like, Stephen, what are we going to do about the pile? And he was like, oh, I'll go through that. Like now? So it became this dance that we would do of, is it your timeline? Is it my timeline? Because I can still see the things, and it's in my space, and it's bothering me, but it's not bothering you, and I can't understand why it's not bothering you, but it's bothering me. So we did this dance for years, and there were even passive-aggressive points on my part where I would put things on a made bed that he had to put away before he could get into bed at night. And he did not appreciate that, and he would let me know, and we worked through it differently to the point that now, after we've been dating for 20 years now and married for 18, and he has spaces in the house where he can be himself. It's a drawer or a cabinet, something that I usually am not able to see, that he can have the contents in there however he wants to have the contents in there. And it's crazy tidy. And if I open the drawer, I usually and just close the drawer really fast and walk away. But that's fine because it allows him to have space in our home to be him. It's not just my home that I'm making him do it my way all the time. So it's helped our relationship a lot to have him be able to do that. And it's also helped me speak my expectations out loud of how I would like my home to look and how I would like it to function. And he's like, okay, I can partner with you in that, and we can create a space where you are comfortable and I am comfortable, and we can have people over, our kids are comfortable, everybody's getting to enjoy the space. Because yeah, us super tidy people might enjoy it a little more sterile than some people who are less tidy. They want their things around. They want it cozy. They want to be able to see things, and that's okay. There's a way to organize that and create a harmony between the super organized, I don't want to see almost anything, and the people that need to see all the things. And creating that balance is knitting you together relationally too, that we've created this space. I love my home more because Steve has input on it than just me saying this is how it's going to be and I don't want you to touch it. So
yeah, that doesn't go well, does it?
It does not.
Okay, let's put the shoe on the other foot. You're the neat one, but what if it's the wife that's the messy and the husband truly loves order,
Right.
and he comes home,
Right.
and it's still chaos,
Right.
like it was yesterday and the day before. And, how does a husband address that issue? And do you run across that very much with your clients where, okay, she really is the messy one.
Right.
And the husband is agitated because he can't,
Right.
he can't whip her into shape.
No, right? And it's communication thing, but it's also not necessarily his responsibility to whip her into shape. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He's there to encourage her. He's there to support her. Bringing in a professional at that point is honestly really, really good for the relationship, because now I'm here to set up the systems that she will be able to maintain, because I'm usually working with her. I have a client working right now where she is more sentimental, more messy. She has things out and she'll put them away at some point, but not possibly in the timeline that he would want them put away in. So we're working on that and how it all looks and how we make it so that he is comfortable in his home and not feeling like he has to control or manipulate or get her to do what he wants to feel comfortable in his home. Because she can feel that, and she can feel that pressure and that judgment and the feeling of a failure. So it almost makes her not want to do it if she gets too far into it and you push too hard on her. But she's loving the process, honestly. And every client that I work with ends up loving the process. I have yet to have someone say, you know what, you were a little too hard or a little too judgy or a little too whatever. No, it's a really gentle process when it comes to organizing your space, because I understand that it's an honor for me to be in your home. So when you get that dynamic, though, of her being less organized and him being more organized, it's a delicate dance. We use a lot of labels, honestly, so everybody knows where it goes and it's got a name on it so that she is able to maintain it consistently. He's gonna maintain it because he's naturally that way. And this takes the frustration out of the relationship of, we were told to do it this way, you're not doing it this way. Instead, she's able to do it and feels confident in that and is able to rise up and give him the home that he wants, which builds something in her too, and a home that she's comfortable in also. She doesn't like not being able to find things. She doesn't like having clutter about. We want to have it tidy.
Yeah,
in
it's
our,
very
in our
defeating.
soul. I think everybody wants to have it tidy. This is something that I'll work with clients where they'll say, I'm just not a neat person. I was not born that way. And I get that not everyone is born the way I am, but I do believe that everybody has the ability to be organized, to stay organized, however it looks for them. When in my research, I've watched a lady who talks about clutter bugs, and she's got 4 different people that she references, and they're different kinds of clutter bugs. I am a ladybug. I like really clean sight, like not a whole lot that you see. And when I open the cabinets, everything is what she calls micro-organized. So everything has a very specific spot. You can see all the things. Not everybody's that way. Some people like visual abundance. They want to see all the things, and they like macro-organizing, where this is the bucket where the shoes go. Can I see all the shoes? No, I have to dig for the shoes, and I'm okay with that. But all the shoes are in the bucket. So when I'm talking with a client, I get the feeling for where they are in that spectrum and how organized they want it to be. And we work within that system and create spaces and places where they can put the things away and be able to feel confident in their home.
So you said that she mentioned 4 bugs, a ladybug. What was the second one?
Ladybug. I believe there's one called a cricket, and I think that's the one that likes the visual simplicity, but the macro organized. Like, it's in the drawer. I don't care how it's in the drawer. It's in the drawer.
Okay.
And I know that it lives in this drawer. There's a honeybee, and they like the visual abundance. They like to see all the things. Picture a honeycomb. They like to see everything in the honeycomb, but they want to micro-organize everything. Like, if you're mixing the colored paper clips with the silver paper clips, they don't like it. They want them separated out. They want the highlighters in a spot, the pens in a spot, the pencils in a different spot, and they're super specific. And then I believe the last one's a butterfly. And they like visual abundance, and they like macro organizing. They like to see all the things, and yep, it's in that bucket, but it's fine, because that's the bucket where the shoes live, where the office supplies go. And I know that it's in that bucket, but I don't need it super little pods of organization.
It's precise. To me, that makes me think of someone who's very artistic.
Yes. Oh, yes. And a butterfly.
And their pipes, their paints are going to be here. Their brushes are here.
Right.
And if you tidied up their space, it would frustrate them.
Yes.
It's too, you know, that absent-minded professor of, well, I know everything, where everything is on my desk. If you touch my desk, I won't know where it is.
Right.
But I just visualize that artistic person who cannot live in perfection
No.
because they're free-spirited
Yep.
and they have got to have room to breathe and just let
Right.
the creativity flow without being so concerned about the organization.
Right.
And I can see where having a space for that, where they can leave their art, they can, for kids, leave their craft where it doesn't have to be picked up
Yes.
precisely,
Yep.
you know, to where it's in a place that it can be left alone, the door closed, and you
Right.
can go back.
Right.
So I can totally see that.
So you get these cricket mamas or these ladybug mamas that don't want to see anything, that have these butterfly and honeybee children. And how do you go about taking care of this? I have some butterfly honeybee children, especially when they're younger. Like, I feel like as they get older, they get more developed in their organizing style. When they're kids, let them make a mess. And we had a lot of trays at our house, and they would make the art, make the mess, make the whatever on the tray, but then the tray could get picked up and tucked in a cabinet, put, you know, under a bed, and it could stay a mess on the tray, but it could also be moved out of sight if guests were coming over and we didn't want it all over the table. Easily just pick it up, put it under the bed, put it in the cabinet, set it in the laundry room for the night so that they could bring it out later and didn't have to completely pick it up and put it away, which is important. So that's one of the methods that we developed and use, and
I like
tell
that.
my clients, right?
I really like the bug and illustration,
Right,
because
yes.
I think probably a lot of our listeners are going, oh, I'm totally a butterfly, or
Right.
I'm pretty cricket.
Right? Yes. Yeah. It's a thing.
It's a thing. I'm surprised there's not more bugs, but you could develop
Absolutely.
that
Right.
theory
And
even more.
People will be different bugs in different atmospheres. So in your office, you could very much be a ladybug and want everything really put away. But at home, you're more of a butterfly, and you just kind of flit, and you do, and you don't land anywhere. So it depends on where you are and who you're relating to. Sometimes can change your organizing style, which I find fascinating and delightful. And, I do believe that organizing is a creative process. To me, it's like putting
Absolutely.
a puzzle together, and I love it. It's just how my brain works. Whereas other people go, I can't put the puzzle together, but they can go create this amazing piece of art, or they can go, put together computer systems that I would be totally intimidated to even address, but their brain gets it. So that's just how I work, and how I love to come in and help other people find ways to work that way, just a little bit, so you can have people in your home. The butterflies, honestly, are people to me too that have a hard time hosting people in their home, or a very easy time hosting people in their home. They either do not care what it looks like, and either you're good with it and you can come in and see it and we're fine, or they never have anyone over because stuff is always everywhere, and there's a part of them that is ashamed of that, or they just don't want to show it to other people. So being able to work with a butterfly and give them ways where they can quickly put things away. Everybody in the house can help because they know where the buckets are, where all the things go, so you can have people come into your home is important, and very satisfying for me to work with a butterfly. I love them. I love really
totally
creative people.
see where they would fall in one of the two categories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, step over that,
Right?
come through here, or it is just like you said. I would never have anyone over.
Yeah.
I would never let anyone see this side of me.
Right.
And that's like you said, that's such a shame.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can help them overcome that,
Right.
to where someone could come in and appreciate
Right.
what they have
Right.
and who they are. I love
Exactly.
that. Okay, now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about what I would call the love nest.
Okay.
For couples, that would be the bedroom, the
Okay.
boudoir.
Yes.
Because often I have, in my quest for creating that beautiful space, I wanted a beautiful bedroom for Brian and I to have intimacy.
Right.
And I hated paper piles being in there. It's like, what is
Yes.
business doing here?
Yes.
And so we and I began to declutter, and I began to really be intentional about creating that room had to be organized.
Yes.
I don't care if there were dishes in my sink
Yep.
or the kids' rooms were a mess, but my space with my husband needed to be protected
Yes.
from the clutter and the junk. And so I really went after that. And I am
that.
notorious for moving furniture around.
Yes.
I like spontaneity and I like change.
Yes.
And so, often that helped me rearrange. Well, then that made me want to clean behind the bed and what are that stack of books doing here? But really went after that. And that has been a wonderful gift to both of us.
Yes.
And the home I live in right now is very simplistic. It's more modern, and it does not like clutter.
Right.
If I bring something in, this house will say, too much, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And so our current space is very minimalistic and very modern, and I love that. And I have, I like to go to bed with nice music. We have never had a TV in our bedroom.
Okay.
And never will.
Okay.
For the first 2 years of our marriage, we didn't even own a TV because my husband was starting medical school, and we knew we would have very limited time together.
Yeah.
And we did not want to spend our evenings on a sitcom.
Yeah.
We knew we had to have time. And so that was just something that we didn't allow into that time, our
Yeah.
family time, our me time. And so we've
Right.
kept TVs out, but at night I really do, because I'm trying to create the ambiance, and it's not every night, but it's I'll play some spa music, and it's kind of the signal to my husband of, hey,
Yeah.
wrap up the business day, because
Yes.
he always has charts or different things that he's thinking of
Yes.
for the next day. But it's also a signal to him. It's my way of communicating to him.
Right.
We're shutting down the day. It's
Yes.
time to be brushing and flossing our teeth.
Yes.
It's time to be coming to the bedroom so that we can finish our day well and it be peaceful. And I love that. And when I do that, that's when I feel like I'm checking off the box of I've created a beautiful, simple, uncluttered place
Right.
to live with my husband and my children.
Yes.
And that is very, very priceless to me.
Agreed.
And I think that he appreciates it as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
speak on that. Speak
I'm
about
sure he does.
the love nest and how
Right.
do you create that type of room setting to where the atmosphere truly does build your marriage relationship, or it
Right.
builds that intimacy.
So this is one of the sticking points that my husband and I had, was that he liked to have all of his stuff all over the top of his dresser. Like, it was just stuff all over the dresser. His keys, his, wallets, or any other receipts or change or whatever would just get left on top. And it was one of those, I don't like it. It's not relaxing to me. It's not harmony. It's not safe. Does that make sense? Like, to me, a safe space is clean. It's tidy. Everything has a home. So we worked a lot on giving him a place where those things could go and still be messy to me. But to him, it's not messy. To him, he knew where everything was. At the same time, he's a bee. So he likes visual abundance. He likes everything being out where he can see it. If he can't see it, he doesn't remember that it's there. Like, he just forgets about it. So he needs to be able to see more. So I think when it comes to creating that space, talking with your partner about what color tones do you want in your room? Do you want photos of your children in your bedroom? Like, some people, I'm one that I love my kids. I do not have photos of my children in my bedroom. Like, it's just not their space. It's our space, and I wanted to keep that pure.
Your
Yes,
space.
our space. We don't, like you said, we don't bring work in there. We don't have paper piles of job stuff. There's a space out in the home that has a spot for office things or business things that aren't going to be distracting when we're in there focusing on each other. And so we have definitely done a really good job, I think, of keeping things out of our bedroom that aren't related to purely our relationship. And I think that's important. So if you're going through your bedroom and you're finding things that are accumulating there that do not translate to you and your partner's relationship, I would ask yourself why they're there and where they need to go after that. And if you can create even a basket by the door, that all the things, when you're coming in at the end of the night, all the things that don't belong in your room that your kids have brought in, your whoever have set there, maybe your spouse has brought in there and they don't actually belong in that room, they can go in the basket at the end of the night. And it's a really quick way to create that atmosphere without having to run through the house for 20 minutes putting things away. Nope, you'll do that in the morning, you'll do that in the day, tomorrow. But for now, this clears the space and resets it really quickly. So I think that would be a good solution if you're finding that things from the rest of the house are coming into your space.
Yeah, I like that. We have a beautiful crystal bowl, and so all of our change gets dumped into that bowl.
Yeah.
But it's decorative.
Yes.
And, you could do that with pocket stuff, whatever.
Yes.
Just find something that's decorative to where it can be dropped in. So maybe we'll collect all that change and go on a nice little vacation.
Right.
Him and her. So, no, I like that because it is critical space. That is critical space in your home that needs to be protected.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, let's talk about, we want to build friendships. And so, we've been talking about different ways to get our kids to help and our husbands. And so say you're going to invite the Smiths over for dinner. And now it's time to get the house in order.
Right.
Or rather to fine tune it. So what begins to, what can families do to be proactive in that to where it's not, oh gosh, how can I describe how I used to be? I went on a tirade of, okay, the Smiths are coming, everybody. And, I'm barking orders here, barking there. And it's almost like the ride to church,
right?
Where the kids are resentful going, Mom is on a warpath. It's like, we don't want that before guests come. But we do need to make sure that, one, there's a clean bathroom that our guests could use.
Yes.
I am adamant of that there must be a clean bathroom for your guest.
Yes.
Then your kitchen needs to be probably the next place that has order. But my daughter taught me something very important. We would begin to have, every year we had this big backyard party for a large group that would come over. And I don't know what it was about me, but I would think the whole house had to be perfect. And I would do stupid things like start to organize family photo albums.
Right.
And my daughter was like,
what
my oldest one was like,
Yeah.
Mom, what are you doing? I'm thinking, we got to get the house ready.
Right.
And she was like, oh, Mom, stop. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, where are people really going to be?
Yes.
She said, work there. They're going to
Yes.
be in our kitchen.
Right.
They'll be in this room. They're going to flow out this way into the backyard. Mom, they're not going to be in our closets. They're not going to be looking under beds. I don't know what it was that made me do that. But when she spoke that to me, there went my light bulb moment, aha moment, where I realized, what am I doing? She is absolutely right. And when I grasped that and realized people are not going to be going through it, it changed my attitude a lot, and getting ready for guests to come over was a whole lot stressful. And it just simplified that process of going, where are they really going to be?
Absolutely.
So any thoughts about that of, I'm sure you would agree that she was telling me the truth.
No, I agree that, yes, she is telling you the truth. Sometimes that sense of a deadline makes us want to get done all the projects that we've been thinking about, and it can be detrimental to hosting. But when it comes to hosting, I think it's important to think about touch space. Which is something that we talk about in a kitchen a lot when we go in there and do that. If your guests are going to be in the kitchen, if your guests are going to be in the home, what are they going to need to be able to put their hands on? What are you going to need to be able to put your hands on at the drop of a hat? And so the touch space, your silverware drawer, your glasses, your dishes, your towels, paper towels, any other extra paper products need to be in a space where you can tell someone possibly where it is, and be able to touch it or get to it easily and quickly. So I think focusing on that a little bit, obviously the tidiness of your home, like make it to your comfort level. But when it comes to organizing projects before a big event, I would look at your touch space and what are you going to need on hand and where is it going to be and how do you want it to look while it waits to be used or whatever that looks like. I know we talked a little bit about when you're in your home and you're having friends over and we're building relationships and whether or not people want to jump in and help you or if they want to sit back and just be hosted and the difference in that personality and what it builds in the relationship. So if you have someone in your kitchen or if you have someone in their kitchen who doesn't like people to come in and help, they don't feel organized enough, they don't feel comfortable having someone else touch their space, I would dig into that and kind of see what's going on there. Either you need some organization or you need to let go of some organization and build a relationship. So just be sensitive as you're hosting to that. I do like people to help. I'm fine with people helping. I like being able to say, oh, we need this. I know it's in this drawer on the right side, or it's in this cabinet down on the left, and I can tell them exactly where it is, and they feel comfortable and confident that they can go get it. And I know exactly where it is, and it fosters a relationship that I think is important. So I try and do that, and it's a way for me to get out of myself too, because I'm super efficient and super on it, and I could do it all myself, but by being vulnerable with my friends and family and saying, hey, you know what, I'm not going to do it all. You can join me in this, and it's okay. Take something in me and gives it to them, which is what relationships about, is taking and giving from each other. So I think that's
So
really important.
Yes, because you're creating the shared experience of being together.
Yes.
And the important thing is, what I would feel is not so much the busyness part, but it's really what happens around that table, around the food and the meal and the conversations that open up.
Right.
And that's when the magic
Right.
really begins to happen. And that's when you know that all the effort to vacuum and get that one bathroom clean
Yes.
and to, get your house in order is worth it.
Yes.
Is in that magic when the relationships really do begin to deepen.
Yeah.
Because you were willing to have someone come in your home, see who you were,
Right.
see how you live, and open your heart and your home to people.
Right.
And that's a key part of building friendships.
Absolutely.
So Lydia, I am so grateful for the
Yes.
wisdom that you've brought to this podcast. I think that our
Absolutely.
listeners are really going to like what you've said, but also probably be thinking, okay, who am I?
Right.
And also, who am I living with?
Yes.
And, take what you've spoken about and to really go, that makes sense, that I should respect that person's possessions, or, boy, they're a ladybug, and that
Yeah.
you just talked about someone's wife or husband and give them some understanding. So I
Right.
so appreciate what you've brought on this show, and I know that there'll be so much more to talk about. So don't be surprised if I don't ask you to come on again,
Right.
and we'll just go even deeper into this subject of how to create the beautiful spaces that we share with those we love. So thank you so much for coming on our show, Lydia
Right.
Erdman.
Thanks, Julie, for having me. I look forward to coming back.
That would be great. Well, Relation EQ listeners, we just wrapped up a fabulous interview with Lydia Erdman, professional organizer, and I want to make sure that you know her company and her website. So her company is Joyfully Organized You, and here is the website. It's www.joyfullyorganizedyou.com. So be sure and check Lydia out. You're going to love what she has on her podcast, and you can learn more about her personally and how she helps people. So, joyfullyorganizedyou.com.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Relation EQ. For more information on how you can fine-tune your relationships, visit our Facebook page at Relation EQ or email us at relationeq@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow our channel on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or hit subscribe on your favorite listening platform so you never miss an episode. Join us again next week for more stories on Relation EQ.